So hello everyone, Nytmare here, and this is Whale FM's Fireside Chat with Artists. In this show, we talk about everything and anything art and crypto in the NFT scene with designers and creators alike, otherwise known as non-fungible token. My guest today is PROBCAUSE, a world-renowned artist and musician from Chicago who has worked with artists including Snoop, Little Dicky, Chance the Rapper, and many more. Prob, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us today.
Yo, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know Discord can be a bear, so thanks for working with us there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's I just got to get more hip to it, man. I'm a newbie.
Yeah, I've been in it a long time, and I love it, so don't sweat it for real. First of all, you're super, super talented and so multifaceted. It was hard to really come up with some kind of synopsis on who we were talking to today. Like
I appreciate
incredible
that.
work as an artist, as a musician, as an animator. You're into NFTs and crypto now. So can you just take a few minutes and just tell the audience who PROBCAUSE is?
For sure, man. Well, thank you for the amazing intro. Yeah, I mean, I have always been very interested in a variety of things. I've always loved music. I've always loved art. I've loved animation, photography for a long time. So I've always really experimented in all these different mediums. And I think for a long time for me, that was problematic because people didn't know quite how to categorize me. I feel like crypto art and my evolution into crypto art has really been interesting because I feel like it's so multidisciplinary. That I can kind of use for the first time all these skills and all these interests that I've had for such a long time and kind of fuse them together in one place. So that's been really cool for me to kind of like get into this space and see what other people are doing and kind of like use all these interests of mine and put them together. But before NFTs, which is really new for me, I was a touring artist. I tour with an artist named Grizz for most of the year. That's kind of like my main gig. I've toured with Chance, worked with Snoop, like you said, worked with a lot of bigger artists, toured with Lil Dicky as well. So music was really at the forefront of everything for me for the longest time, just because that's where my path led me. Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay, cool. My thing said the stream ended, cricket noise. So that's kind of like a little bit of the background of where I come from and what I'm about.
Very cool. Let's talk about the music for a little bit because I think it definitely deserves its time in the forefront here. You've been doing it for a long time. I was looking up your catalog and it looked like early 2000s. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I started putting music out when I was in high school. Just really playing around, freestyling in the cafeteria, freestyling over beats. I think like when I was a senior in high school, that's when like TuneCore and some of these other distribution mechanisms started popping up where you could kind of like get your music out on the internet in a different way. So, I was really interested in that and like kind of the blog era of hip hop music. And so I just started recording myself and putting music out, really early on and seeing where it took me,
Yeah, I was part of that time period as well. So the progression was pretty fast. It was interesting at the time when MP3.com and Real Player and things like that were out, and then it quickly progressed. People were renaming like popular songs, like taking their own track in an MP3 and renaming it whatever, the latest Snoop song, so people would download it. So to go from there to today is kind of mind blowing.
I remember like Soulja Boy that's how Soulja Boy got really big. Is he would like take like, it would be like Eminem featuring Jay-Z and Nas, produced by
Right.
DJ Premier, and then it would just be like a Soulja Boy song. But everyone listened to it because they thought they were getting something else.
Right. And interestingly, he's still here, very progressive. I mean, he's pushing into the NFT space as well. But
I saw he dropped a piece on Rarible.
He did, but he's always been business minded like that, like always trying to look outside the box. So really, I think people have to give him props for being, innovative in this, whatever you think about his music, whether you're a fan or not. He really kind of, a lot of people that get popular today on SoundCloud or whatever platform owe it to the guy.
For sure.
But I was listening to your stuff and I found it very interesting because stylistically, you can hear a progression for sure, but you kind of run the gamut. Typically, I find a lot of MCs have a particular style, and you can go from smooth, kind of flowing type of style to like really multi-syllabic Midwest flow. And so that just talks to the breadth of talent that you have there. So I just found
I
that
appreciate
really
that.
impressive. Yeah. And then you have
I mean, I think part of that is coming up in the Chicago hip hop scene, because of our location and because everyone kind of passes through. I feel like Chicago music is influenced by the South, East Coast, West Coast. Like we kind of take a little bit from everybody and fuse it together and then put our own spin on it. So I think a lot of that I attribute to just being in this city and being surrounded by the musicians in this space. You got your Twistas. I don't know if the audience is familiar with Twista, but he's like kind of the king of fast rapping and was always a huge inspiration for me. But then I was always really into like Project Pat and DJ Paul and like a lot of the Southern chopped and screwed music as well. So like that influenced me as well. So it's like I feel like I was taking from a lot of different artists and sounds coming up, and I think you could hear that in the diversity of my styles, I guess. Plus I just I get so inspired that it's like I hear something and I'm like, oh, let me like put that through the PROBCAUSE filter and see what it sounds like when I do something inspired by that. So I'm glad to hear that you can hear the variety of styles. Sometimes I feel like it goes unnoticed, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that it stands out for you.
Yeah, and just for context here, I'm a former musician myself. I'll say former because I haven't done anything in a long time.
Dope.
So, kind
Did
of
not know that.
my angle here is that there's a lot of progression into audio NFTs and things of that nature. So, from the music perspective, I like to get a little bit more into the details. So,
Yeah.
particularly intrigued with some of the music details that I saw. Like you talk about being influenced by Twista. Being influenced by Twista is one thing. To get on a track with Twista is intimidating. And then to get on the track
Yeah.
and literally quote or have a version of Adrenaline Rush
Adrenaline rush.
in the song, that is an intimidating prospect, right? So
Yeah.
that was super impressive. So I had to make sure I called that out when I talked to you. But you have,
Oh, for sure.
you work with a lot of people. I assume that you've worked with a lot of time for a long time over the years. But also you have a lot of these A-listers, between Little Dicky and even people that are just legendary, right? Like Master Ace, Action Bronson, Raekwon.
Yeah.
To get on a track and hold your own and even outshine to some degree on some of them is super impressive. So I just want the audience to really understand type of musician that's coming into this space. This is someone that is ultra talent in just that regard before we've even gotten to the amazing stuff you do in artwork.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I put a lot of work into the music and really am a student of hip hop. And so I've always, those features didn't come till I was in the game for maybe 8 to 9 years. You know what I mean? Even though I started as kind of like a hobby in high school, I was still working to try to get better as an artist. And those kinds of features and being in the studio with those kinds of people was definitely, as you said, it's intimidating to get on a track with Twista and like Raekwon. I rewrote that Raekwon verse like 100 times because I was just mad intimidated by like the legendary nature of these people. So I really put a lot of work to get to that space and to be able to hold my own on tracks with legendary artists like that. And honestly, I was always just honored whenever those opportunities came up. every song is a little bit different story. But whenever those opportunities came up, I always felt very grateful to just be a part of this space, you know?
Right. And in looking at your, your touring history, it looks like some of that may have come from building relationships while you were on the road.
That's literally where 90% of it came from.
Right.
Lil Dicky is a good example. Like, we toured for like 3 or 4 months together. And we just became really good friends. Like, that song just came very organically. It was just like, yo, we should make a song so we could like do it on the road, have something to put out. And this is kind of like before he blew up. Same thing with Twista. We did a show together in Milwaukee, hung out afterwards, smoked a little bit. I don't know how PG-13 or R-rated these streams are. And that's kind of like how it built. So I'm all about the organic relationships. All these artists have had some sort of communication with writing these songs. If we weren't in the studio, we were just talking about the music. So that's an important aspect of it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it just makes it that more impressive when I see the leap stylistically from a song that I like Starlight, that almost has like a 90s Tribe or Souls of Mischief kind of vibe.
Yeah.
To something like Blacklight, which is pretty aggressive, almost like themes of dubstep in there. So
Yep.
before we get any further, I think it'd be cool if we could just show the audience an example of some of your music. What would be a track that would be good to highlight and run through right now?
Man, I just put out a good song would be Starlight. I just put this project out called Moonflower. Ooh, Distractions is a good one too. You got them all up. Yeah, check out. It's so new. I wonder if it's even on YouTube. That'll be fun to see. The song's called Starlight. It's a lot different than a lot of my other music. Let's see. It might not even be on YouTube yet, which is hilarious. It literally just came out like a month or two ago.
Well, if you want to grab the stream and share from your computer, you could stream it for me.
Yeah, let me I want to make, I hope it doesn't sound too bad. You could do Distractions too. Let me try to do this screen share, because I'd love to play some like unreleased tunes also.
Sure, just a moment.
All right, let's see. All right, let me know if y'all can hear this. Is it playing for y'all?
No.
Hold on. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the audio playing from my screen or not. Can you see my screen? Or no?
It looks like I'm looking at my own screen or my own stopped.
Share screen.
Yes, I can see your screen now.
All right, cool. Let's see if this works. Can you hear that?
You know what? We can hear it in the background. I think it would need to be in, like, you'd have to share the actual app. So
Oh. Yeah, why don't you play Distractions from yours? Because I don't want to lose people's attention span while I'm trying to like fumble around playing the audio over here.
Sure. I'm gonna try Spotify, see if that works.
All right, cool. Yeah. Go on Spotify. It's all on Spotify. I wasn't sure if you could operate off that.
I'm not sure either, but we're pioneering here, so find out.
Hey, we're gonna try it out. Yeah, man, that sucks, because I was hoping
you said this is from your newest project, is that right?
Yeah, the newest project's called Moonflower. It just came out a couple months ago. And it's with an artist named Cloudcord, who's super awesome producer who works a lot with chill hop music. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Okay.
They do a lot of more like down tempo, lo-fi hip hop, kind of like the lo-fi beats to study to vibe.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that the recent project was a lot more light and airy.
Yeah, a lot more mellow.
And was
I've been in isolation for the last like 8 months, so
right.
I'm in less a party go mood than I usually am, I guess.
And this was a collaboration?
Yeah, he produced all the beats and all the rapping and lyrics are mine.
Okay. And do you produce as well, or do you just?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I produce as well. I've been producing for a few years. Love to make my own beats as well, but man, I know so many good producers that it's like I just end up using their beats a lot of the time.
Right. I think I tried at one point with Fruity Loops, and it definitely sounded like I shouldn't.
Oh man, yeah, love Fruity Loops. I'm on Ableton now, but you know, I've played with all of them.
I'm gonna give this a try again.
Yeah, let's see if it works. It's super quiet. Yeah.
Drawing doodles, rhyming noodles, smoking rollies, saying toodles to the police. Hopping fences, doing burners on the bed of churches, looking for my purpose. I ain't perfect, but I'm working harder than all of them, all of the time. Couldn't fall in the line, pardon my lateness, my path look like a snake that's been tied into 10 knots. Hard to follow like 10 plots, missed 9 out of 10 shots, but I hit one. As long as we get the W, it's all good. Still striving to be a better man, trying to lay off the medicine, stressing over some Benjamins. Aggressive, my temper bad, be a little more sensitive. Yeah, take a breath, give space, trying to learn what the lesson is. Marinating in starlight. Yeah, see the constellations on a dark night. Yeah,
we could like contrast this with the Twister one just to show, I guess, the range.
and I feel so free when I leave this ground, and you got me all the way back home.
Seems Spotify likes to start and stop on its own when I'm streaming.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could if you want to go back to YouTube if it's better, but
yeah, let's give that.
Yeah, there it goes.
And the song with Twista is called
Chicago Style.
I'm back at the crib on my Shot-Town shit. All walks of life in the same room chillin'. Kick it with the new school, learn how to spit from the OGs. You could probably hear it in a twist. Come on. Yeah, that's a no to the old school. Open these doors in your ears, never old news. Midwest state of mind, nobody owes you. Don't let it control you, stand on your own too. Now we the center of the scene, louder than a bomb, and we working as a team. Do it for the spitters and the hitters with a dream. Take it to the top with a full head of steam. Rush. So turn the bass, kick up and bump, and let the rhythm hit off the drum. To make your homie kick up and jump, light up the blunt, celebrate the shit that we on. We off the rick to this Shot-Town shit. The city that works go hard for it. All sides of the window on the scene, gonna mix what a murder man, make an extra change off a lick. I used to kick it at the tip. If I like baseball, probably rock a socks fitted. Shout out to Carlos, hyphen and shit. House track drilled up, pull up in a whip. Yeah, so let me take you on a trip. I know a Obama, I'ma put you on a lick. A polar vortex couldn't call my click, but he said he's slick as icy, you can fuck around and slip. Yeah, to all the homies with a gift, never give it up, holler at me for a lift. And if you ever get on, put it back into the city where you were born.
Man, I haven't heard this one in a while.
Chicago style, PROBCAUSE, let's get it. Think they wanna come in my crew? Motherfucker, tell me what you wanna do now. Packing my boo, sitting on my lap is my boo. Talk shit and I'ma act a fucking fool, and I might run through any bitch that get up in the lap. Get my flow or go rat-a-tat-tat if I don't like the way you act. Bust a couple off the scared headers, and so I can go and hit it from the back. Then I let them know niggas ain't fucking with me. Flowing as if I'm busting the semi. Give me a probable cause, I'ma kill him, and still I'ma let him know if he want me, come and give me because it give me a rush. Killing them off the etiquette of an original, we're flipping like a brick. I murder them all cause I don't like the way they spit. Okay, I'm reloaded, bitch take it. And I'm taking motherfuckers back to the basics. Standing on the stage doing ape shit. Cooler while I'm smoking on my vape stick. Forever I'ma be up in the matrix. Snap back, not fitted. Fuck with a lot of the bombs that we visit. And we get a lot of
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't heard that in so long, bro.
Yeah. When was that made?
2016, 2015, 2016 it said. So 5 years ago. Crazy.
Super dope.
Thanks for playing that, man. Whoa, that brought me back.
Yeah, it got me hyped. I'm not
Me
sure
too.
whether the mic was picking me up over here, but I was kind of moving around a lot. So that
Yeah,
song
I was trying not to rap over it.
And so you've also had some collaboration projects, right? So the Palmer Squares, is that?
Yeah. Are you familiar with them?
Just what I've just listened to recently. I checked out the Junkyard Samurai project.
Yeah. So we have a project called Junkyard Samurai. That's me and the Palmer Squares. We got one album out, and we're getting ready to drop the second album, which I was hoping to play some tunes from for you, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the stream to sound good over here. But yeah, it's a really cool project. It's just 2 other rappers from Chicago that are really cool, funny dudes. You could actually, if you want to go to YouTube, you could bring up Muff Hugger. That's kind of like our little, I guess, our most popular song. And that kind of sparked the, first thing that comes up. Nice. 1.5 million. Nice. Yeah, this is like my first 1 million stream music video.
Awesome. Do you want to play a bit of this?
Yeah, play a little bit of it. The music video is hilarious too.
Now,
These dudes are a bunch of nerds.
Did you have a hand in directing this? Because I know you do a lot of different stuff.
My buddy directed it actually. My friend Elijah Alvarado, who does a lot of my music videos, he directed this, and he did an awesome job. It's a really creative video.
Okay, let's check it. Let's check about a bit of it.
Yeah.
I call it saving money.
This is like the beginning of my career. This song.
What if you could control the web with your mind?
They're really hitting me up for the ads right now.
Oh, that hitting you with them ads, yeah. Fake $100 bill, I swear to God, y'all.
Doing rock to the music, soapbox for the gossip and rumors. Robot, the constant consumer. So I've been robbed of a future. Stepping stones, better get with the go. But it turned into sinking stones. Thinking that the singing ain't rigmarole. Been known to shit on opponents. Live for the moment, ripping the bone to the coffin choke, and then I rip that bone some more. I'm often quoted and thought provoking with the raw emotional foggy notion. Put a stop to the ignorance and the cognitive dissonance and the subconsciously obnoxious talk shit get dropped and it gets the bitch. So fuck what you heard in the cattle. Turn that to put the worm in the apple. Piss and vinegar, thin and thin to hurt. DK like Henry Kissinger. To get specific, I'm pessimistic and I never listen. So slit your wrist, fuck off and die. Run, spark them high. Either walk, fly, or jump start the ride. Run the race while I juggle chainsaws. Take your mother motherfucker face off. Jelly roll, turn L to roach. Toss some low when hell gets cold. Cause YOLO, bro, solo cup. You know we don't fuck with the cotton mouth. It ain't over till the fat lady sings and we just pulled up to the opera house.
Yeah, you can stop it there. Just a little like taste of the style, you know?
Yeah. Very cool.
That's not me, by the way. That's the Palmer Squares.
Great.
I'm the last one, but we don't need to watch the whole thing.
You sure?
No, yeah. I mean, unless you want to.
Yeah,
it's up to you.
Let's come back to it because I know a lot of people here are really into your art also.
Totally.
So incredible, obviously incredible musical pedigree. How about the visual art? Have you always done that alongside with the music as well?
Yes. In fact, I went to school for art. I went to the Art Institute of Chicago. And really that was what I thought I was going to do with my life. I didn't know in what capacity, I always wanted to be a working artist, but at that point I thought maybe I'd teach art or something of that nature. And during school, I got like my first tour opportunity, and so I left art school to go on tour and make music. So it's always been a huge part of my life, but music has kind of like pulled me away from it in some ways, which is why the last year has been really cool for me because I've kind of like come back to my roots as an artist. If you go to, I have like a secret Instagram page called PROBDRAWS, PROBDRAWS, and it's got all my stuff on there. More art based. Yeah. The PROBCAUSE stuff is like a mix of music and art.
Right.
And it's pretty much all art.
And I had seen that you even highlighted on there that traditionally you had used it more for music promotion, but the art was just, so prevalent in what you were working on lately that you kind of wanted to give that more of a focus.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to kind of bring it back into the mix because, I mean, especially with NFTs and crypto art and me getting involved in that space, I feel like it's allowing me to let art be part of my branding again and just, it's who I am. So it's been cool to share more of that side of me.
Well, what would you say are like the key influences to your artistic style? I definitely see a lot of dope, colorful, and cartoonesque aesthetic, but you have some other things that come to the more abstract as well and more like muted colors. So, talk to us a little bit about what you kind of see your aesthetic as.
Yeah, I mean, I came up as a graffiti writer, so that's kind of like that's how I became a rapper. That's how I got into music. That's was really my introduction to art. Is just painting graffiti, painting murals, in Chicago, and I realized that like, I always looked at graffiti as something separate from fine art, from like the art in galleries, and I think the time that I started making graffiti, it started kind of becoming more accepted in the art world. Like people like Twist, aka Barry McGee, and some of these people who kind of came from the graffiti or street art world were starting to get some shine in the traditional gallery world. So I realized that like, what I'm doing with graffiti with spray paint, I could put on a canvas and be taken seriously as an artist. So graffiti is really like the initial influence. I think you see it in kind of like the shapes and colors and hard lines. And then I started learning more about painting and the history of art, and I think that influenced kind of my trajectory from there.
You can definitely see the street influence and the aesthetic. How does the music influence your art? Do you have kind of a symbiotic relationship between the two?
It's not so direct. So I've animated a couple music videos, so there are like some moments where they connect with each other in that sense. But I think really, I listen to music a lot while I draw, so I think like it's subconsciously affecting my decision making. Um I don't know if there is like, I wouldn't say that they are directly influencing each other all the time, but I think that like, I write lyrics while I'm drawing, and I listen to beats while I'm drawing. And when I'm producing or writing lyrics, I oftentimes have like really specific visuals happening, like whether it's an idea for a music video or I just can see the imagery that I'm trying to, speak. So I think they're connected in that way a lot of the time, but I'm looking to start. Actually, this is a good one. I want to animate characters like these rapping my verses and do NFTs of those. So I'm looking to like connect them a little bit more than I have in the past.
Yeah, and you have some animations on your YouTube. It looks like you may have collaborated with some people as well.
Oh yeah, this is cool.
Are these animations that you did or?
Yeah. So all the stuff in the front I drew. I worked with the same guy who directed that Muffhugger video, Elijah Alvarado. He kind of chopped up sampled videos outside of the windows in the background. We did this for Grizmas, which I work with a DJ named Grizz, and he does this annual event called Grizmas. And this year it was remote. So this is you can't hear the music, but it's a DJ set that I did. Yeah. It's basically just an animated DJ set. So I've been doing these little things called Tunes for Tunes, and it's cartoon PROBCAUSE, and I'm just spinning music I like, basically.
Yeah, I especially liked the Bernie rapping Killer Mike. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh man, yeah. Yo, some of these animations are really funny.
Because obviously that was, just done because you were inspired and just felt like putting it together, which makes
Yeah. I mean, I just made it in 5 seconds.
But it makes perfect sense,
Right?
So
We
so
did
you're
another
talking-
one.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We did another one about I don't know if you remember this, but Martin Shkreli,
Yes.
who's like this millionaire dude who bought the Wu-Tang One of One album.
Yep.
And we made this whole animation. I don't know if it's on this page or somewhere else, but it was called what was it called? Enter the Wu or something like that. And it was all about how like Wu-Tang. It was all about Wu-Tang stealing their album back from Martin Shkreli with the help of Bill Murray. So I love making these weird little cartoons,
Very cool. And so that's not easy to do. And you're looking to add that to some of these more artistic focused creations that you made. Is that for NFT purposes or just exploration in general?
I think there's a blurred line there now. I think it's something that I've always wanted to do. But I also think it would make for a really cool, I've been trying to figure out exactly the best way to incorporate music into the NFT space. And I haven't figured that out yet. And I haven't released any music NFTs yet, which will change tomorrow, actually, because I am dropping something with Grammatic on Nifty as part of his Nifty Gateway drop. Little plug. And I'm thinking that the best way to incorporate music into these NFTs is through like little animated music videos of me just rapping as a cartoon character. I feel like it's a really cool way to kind of like blur the line between, real PROBCAUSE and cartoon PROBCAUSE. These are fun.
Very cool. How did you, before I get to that, because I'm very intrigued about the audio NFTs and how music's being incorporated into it. And I know you're doing a ton of stuff between the animated sets, even your digital coloring books that you released. How did you find your way into crypto and then the NFT art space?
Totally. It was, it's crazy. It's like probably one of the best things that happened as a result of COVID for me. I was off the road. I had a really exciting tour schedule in front of me. And then, all this stuff hit and it's impacted everyone differently. And for me, it meant, not touring. And so I was spending a lot more time on the internet. And there's a bunch of artists that I follow on Twitter. Fuocious was one of them. Jonathan Wolf is another one. Odious. So all those people who are kind of like, I would call them like NFT stars almost now. They were posting about selling their work for cryptocurrency. I've always been curious about cryptocurrency. I bought some Bitcoin years ago. And I was like, what is it that these people are doing? I just don't understand. And so I started investigating a little bit, uploaded a piece on Rarible, and it sold like within seconds. And I was just hooked. I was like, this is crazy. And as I started to learn more about the community and kind of the early adopters and what this space is all about, I just fell in love with it more and more. And now I'm hooked, man. I'm like, I think all of it is so cool. I think, the Decentraland and the virtual spaces are really cool. Like, I just want to explore and experiment with all of it because I feel like there's so much potential for creative growth, in a lot of different ways. And just like experimentation, like, God, you could do endless things in a virtual reality space with live performance and art. So I feel like it's just like the perfect home for a person like me who's so interested in so many different things between animation, visual art, and music, that it's like I couldn't ask for a better place to start sharing my work.
Yeah, and I even saw that you were I think featured on a track called Satoshi Nakamoto in like 2016. So it's not like you're a Johnny come lately to cryptocurrency. So
definitely not. That song Satoshi Nakamoto is coming out tomorrow as with like a brand new animation. that I did not do. A really talented animator did it as part of Grammatic's debut NFT drop. So that'll be my first. Fittingly, that'll be the first music NFT that I'm a part of.
Oh wow. Yeah, and that's a rehash of something that you guys were ahead of the curve on, right? That was
Yeah, totally.
I have a request to hear that song.
Yeah, throw it on. Wow, it's cool that it's like one of the first thing that pops up when you type Satoshi Nakamoto. Like, that's so cool.
Would the official
Either one, it's that is not the official music video, but I'm so curious what it is. So can we watch that one? As long as it's the actual song, which it looks like it is.
I'm getting heat for not having YouTube Premium right now.
Oh, I don't got it either, so it's all good.
Yeah. We on some next shit with this.
This is like a homemade video for those watching. We have nothing to do with this, so
Buying whips with cryptocurrency right now.
kind of cool though.
Yeah. Tyler Durden, make them holler murder. Take them to the highest point of the earth, no need to follow further. The shit is universal, no time to do rehearsal. I never take a break, that shit is too commercial. I wasn't raised different, I was made different. Flow don't fuck around like it was raised Christian. Antisocial with these kids, we don't play with them. We just keep a small circle and we stay lifted. I need Monopoly bread, so if it ain't sex, then it gotta be head. So you got some candles, I prefer the sloppy instead. Do my own thing and they prefer to copy instead. The money got them in a frenzy, probably wanna envy. Glass half full, but the bottle's left empty. Baby, I'm a gentleman, but I don't do it gently. Backwoods with the Henny, back good, never trendy. That kush got plenty, I be off of the fields. Get in tune with the rhythm, now I'm leaving the room. Let the mood reawaken like I'm out of the tombs. Each room's keep moving, going out with a boom. For the goal, I be walking every road on the map. Get a vibe low key and the flows relaxed. But once the smoke is in the air and we pouring the jet, we like singers, certain actors, we don't know how to act. Switch it up, let your bitch pop a bean and a hat. Got a queen hitting ass, sipping lean in the back. Bank robbery, we going and we leave with the cash. We just getting what we need, see no reason to ask. Drugs unlock doors in my mind where I never go. Learning to acknowledge while accepting what I'll never know. Living in the moment while we can, cause you never know. Just take the energy you got, baby, and let it go.
This is my verse coming here.
Sonically colder than comets. Surf a rocket to the moon and can't nobody stop it. I'm hyperbolic, my words curve extra wavy. You'll paint a map of the sky, shit you could call me Haley. Before that cold shit, just a cloud of smoke. When you realize you don't know shit, the quicker you gon' roll. Got that van, gon' blow, go crazy on a sorry night. Hate a couple rumors on my way here and I feel it right. Hop up out the whip and say what I say, everyone around. Let me get a show that you already know how I get down. Overdone, say I'm overdue for all these accolades. I don't really think about it, I'm just trying to rap and pace. Stack a couple bitcoins, pull up on my Nakamoto. Chillin' with your lady friend, she rock a red on Takamono. Posted up in Acapulco, shout out to the homie Smoko. Loco at the show, hold up, posted for the family photo. Epiphanies on symphonies, epic epigrams, man, these words last for centuries. This shit's timeless, grab it on your tomb. Don't say the sky's the limit when there's footprints on the moon. Moon walking on the sun beaming, I'm a star shooting into space, spaceship it up to Mars, yeah. I'm universal, my purpose to personal. This path and give back, that's how life's supposed to circle. Yo G, roll that purple, run that beat, back reversal, I don't need no damn rehearsal. This is internal, eternal, life is like a flick. Leaving space for the horns, that's my shit. Until we meet again, paint the world with brighter colors. Word to the pride mob, y'all my sisters and my brothers. One time for the lovers, spread that energy around. And keep it all in motion, getting lost inside my sound.
Cryptocurrency.
Stuck a couple bitcoins.
Money,
Pull up on my Nakamoto.
Yeah, that's pretty much the vibe.
So that was so savage.
Yeah.
It was so savage, and the juxtaposition with the recent project just shows kind of the breadth of your talent and how wide-ranging you are. So props to you, man. That's super cool.
Man, appreciate it. Appreciate the words, bro.
But especially coming that early, right? Like that was before even the 2017 hype. So you guys,
Yeah,
were
that was 6 years ago. And you know what? When we wrote that song, when Grammatic asked me to be on that track, I had no idea what Bitcoin was. So like that's what sparked me to start researching and being like, what is this? And thank God he put me on that early, you know?
right. Yeah, it's funny how a lot of this stuff kind of goes hand in hand. Kind of being creative. You find a lot of creatives that are involved in this space because they just have that desire to look a little deeper at things and to go into the unknown and be progressive.
Yeah, I think there's also like an element of anti-establishment ism, you know, where it's like a lot of musicians and artists are like, man, things do not work for us, so we're going to create a reality that makes sense. And I think Bitcoin, the blockchain technology is so creative in that way. I think that's why a lot of artists and creatives look to it, because the financial system has failed them in a lot of ways. So seeing this decentralized way of looking at it makes a lot of sense to a lot of artists, I think.
Yeah, especially considering the genesis of hip hop being counterculture, right?
Right.
Despite what people think of it now, like that's the origin of it, and why people turned the hat to the side was because everyone else was wearing it forward, right?
Yes.
So,
real talk, man.
Yeah, we're at a different place now, but really that's the essence of what that music is about. So even beyond just musicians, you can really see how it could tie into your roots.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned Decentraland, which I found pretty cool. Have you done anything there yet with them?
Yeah, I did a couple DJ sets in the casino for like the casino nights. I think they do them on like Wednesdays or Thursdays. So I did one a few weeks ago. I'm gonna keep doing those every like month or two. They're really fun. I just basically do a DJ set while people play blackjack.
Right.
But I would love to do, if anyone out there is listening who wants to do stuff in Decentraland or Crypto Voxels or any other spaces, I'm all about it. I think that stuff's really cool. I want to do more like digital animated performances in those spaces. So I'm all about it if you guys want to collab on something.
Very cool. And then, you mentioned a lot of the different things that you could do progressively with the smart contracts now. And, as far as AR and VR stuff, I saw that like a week ago, you dropped your first piece of programmable art with that samurai piece.
Yeah, with Async, who I love them and their team and what they do. I think it's so cool and innovative. Yeah, I dropped. I don't know if is it on this page? I don't know if I ever. Oh yeah, it's that purple one that's blank, the top right one. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the piece I did for Async. So every there's 4 different head states. Three different layers for the legs and the torso, and then like the object of desire, the thing that the character is holding. I assume most people who are listening know about Async, but if you don't, basically every layer is for sale. So the head, torso, legs are all on different layers, and you can buy them individually. And then whoever owns the master layer, that layer gets changed based on what layer the owners decide for the character. So if you own the head state, you can choose if you want it to be the MF Doom mask or the skull or whatever. So it's kind of like this constantly evolving piece of art that will never be the same, which to me is just like, man, that's it right there. That's so cool,
Right. What do you see as like some things that you'd like to branch out into as far as the AR and VR stuff that you could do with the smart contract and the art? You mentioned obviously doing more virtual reality stuff, and kind of the sky's the limit, right? A lot of experiments.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really cool to do some virtual reality sets, like just live DJ sets. What I'm waiting for, and it might exist, but like, it would be cool if Pioneer or one of these other companies that make DJ products made an app in the VR space where people could just, put their headset on and DJ and do that in front of a live audience. I mean, that's bound to happen very soon, I think. And I think that would take, a lot of people are holding these like concerts on Twitch and Zoom and whatever that are cool, but I think the next level would be to create the actual world and the space that people are occupying, virtual reality wise. So I think that'll be really cool to see. The other thing in terms of music ownership with the smart contracts, I think you're going to see a lot of musicians sell the publishing rights to songs included in the NFT. Rack actually has a really cool article in Rolling Stone, or maybe no, I think it's Blau. They talk about this a little bit, but if you have a piece that's divided, say, into 10 shares, 10 people can own that NFT and each get 10% royalties of a song. All of a sudden, the artist and the fans are intrinsically connected in this way, and they're both making money together. And artists can support, or fans can support artists in this whole different way, where they're both reaping the benefits of the success of one another. So I think you're going to start seeing some of those things implemented in the next, I don't know. I mean, NFT stuff is moving so fast right now. You might see it sooner than later, but I would say within the next year, we'll start seeing things like that.
Yeah, I don't recall the artist, but I had just seen it. It had to do with the Bonnley project, and there was an artist with a big following there, and he's a big advocate right now because he partnered with them to release kind of a limited NFT, and then within a matter of minutes sold out, and I think he got like 45 ETH or something.
Crazy.
He got on his Patreon in like a year. So
wow.
It's kind of changing the paradigm. I mean, I don't know if people realize the kind of scraps that are given for streaming.
Right.
It's so minuscule. I had a song of mine I made a long time ago and ended up getting jacked by some compilation project, and somehow it made its way onto Spotify. So out of curiosity, I took a look. I'm like, well, let me look at the number of streams versus what that would have been. Should I care? And it was not even worth my effort to send an email. It was
right.
It was ridiculous. So to change that around, if an artist can sell even 5 or 10 audio NFTs,
yes,
he could be making more than millions of streams, especially after collaborators, writers, or the publisher gets a cut. So this really changes the paradigm for musicians.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I have a project with an artist named Manic Focus that we're getting ready to put out, and we're still kind of experimenting. It's kind of like full transparency, letting you know my thought process, because that's really what all this is about. And we're talking about putting this project out as an NFT album, right? So each track would be maybe one of 10, one of 20 NFTs. Sell them for, even if we sold them for $50 to $100, right? If they all sold out, we would make more from selling 10 NFTs than we would probably get from Spotify in 5 or 6 years, even if they got up to the million streams. So I'm hoping that more artists, musicians specifically, start adopting NFT releases for their music projects, because then that puts the power back in our hands, and Spotify can't be like, they kind of have this monopoly where they are allowed to pay us 0.0003, tenths of a penny for every stream. And I think if artists stop releasing music on Spotify and start releasing them as NFTs, that kind of takes back some of the power to the artists. And I think that's important. And I'm really hoping that happens.
Yes, especially with not only that, with the payout scale and how they manage that, but really they're the influencer curating the lists, right?
Yes, the playlists.
So not only do they control what minuscule amount that they'll allocate for you for royalties, but also they control who becomes popular and who doesn't, and it kind of takes the power out of their hands. And we did
talk about a fully centralized system. Spotify is it.
And the thing is, it could be that much more successful for a musician financially, so they can be viable, so they can focus on music just from the initial NFT sale. That doesn't account for the residual with NFTs, right? You can build the NFT, so you continue to get 10% on the resale, and we've seen how these have exploded in the aftermarket. So the potential is really there to do some really progressive things.
I agree. You nailed it, man.
What I think is the part that's still, got to be explored is what exactly is that model? Because there's a different level of engagement musicians have with fans, I think, than just visual art. It's kind
Right.
of a more consistent thing, and there's opportunity there, but it's really a lot of white space right now, and there's got, like you said, experimentation on how exactly to use that and flesh it out.
Yeah, one thing this is a good example too that you got here. Like, this is the vinyl for my Moonflower album, and I have this AR animation that the album artwork triggers here, right? So one thing that I was thinking about doing going forward, and musicians feel free to steal this idea from me, because the more musicians who are making NFTs, the better for all of us. But I'm gonna basically hide messages, AR messages, on my album artwork. So say like I had maybe 100 vinyls for sale. The fans buy them in NFT form. The vinyl is the physical asset that comes with that NFT, right? And all of a sudden, I have a way to communicate with you through augmented reality, and the front of the album cover is my message board. So I can change that flower whenever I want and write something like a message directly to the fans who are holders of this vinyl, and say, hey, go to this Splash website right now and redeem a free NFT, or I'll airdrop you an NFT, or whatever. There's endless applications of this to directly communicate with your most diehard fans who want those physical pieces. So I think that's one area where maybe people will start exploring, or should, is using augmented reality to be a communicator to fans.
Yeah, and I never even thought of that. I know that in the visual art space, they do a lot of things where specific conditions change the visual. Like,
Right.
if the weather's a certain temperature, or a certain amount of resales have happened, or the price of a cryptocurrency, it'll change the visual. I mean, I don't know the technological limitations, although in this space I think we could always overcome it. But maybe it could change the audio, right? Imagine that the song
Yeah.
would literally change. Like, I don't know, my brain's exploding thinking about it. But
Yeah.
that's what's so exciting about it.
Well, think about like async, what async does, but for music. So you have a song with a drum track, a bass line, and a melody, right? And each of those are individual layers owned by different fans or collectors. And they get to dictate, when the melody starts, when the drums stop, and they can restructure, remix, whatever you want to call it, the beat. And now they're part of the life of that song. These are really like interesting ideas that artists are going to take and evolve and turn into something really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, when you look at other people in the scene and in the space, is there anyone that you really draw inspiration from for some of this artwork and some of the stuff that you're doing?
I have such a wide variety of influences. Recently, I mean, just because they're relevant because of the drop last night, the Mad Dog stuff is amazing. I love his work, and those NFTs are amazing, and there's cool beats behind it, especially like the Deadmau5 stuff. So I'm definitely looking to people like that. God, who else are some of my like influences right now? I spend so much time in the NFT space the last 6 months. Everybody I'm gonna say are just like people in that space. I love the work that Parrot is making over on Super Rare. He's a really cool dude as well who makes music. I'm really into like the 3D art, honestly. Even though I don't make it, I draw a lot of inspiration from that stuff, especially in my newer work. Yeah, and then I'm always a fan of like people like like OGs, Ralph Steadman, Jamie Hewlett, who does all the Gorillaz artwork. I love his stuff. Probably one of my favorite artists. Yeah, I mean, such a wide range. That's my boy Muzzy Bear.
Nice.
He's the guitar player for Grizz. He's probably tuned into this right now, actually. What up, Muzzy?
What up? Very cool. Speaking of Rareable, let's take a look at some of your stuff that you've created over here, just so the audience can take a look. Any piece you'd like to highlight and kind of talk through the inspiration process?
Yeah. So you can see chronologically those two pieces on the top right are the two newest pieces I've been doing. So Rarible, I look at every NFT marketplace as a kind of different outlet for different creative expressions, right? So for Rarible, I try to do like cheaper, I try to make it more affordable, right? So like 0.25, 0.2 is probably like the lowest I'll sell my work. And so with the Rarible stuff, I try to make them like kind of fun, poppy pieces. They're really like my doodles that I'm giving away. And then with async, it's a little different. It's more like, I'm trying to make more thought out pieces. And same with like known origin. So with Rarible, they're like really just fun. It's like, it's the work I would make regardless of whether I was selling it or not,
Right.
It's like really personal work. So like these two newest ones, this is a new style I'm playing with. Kind of fun, quirky, brightly colored, these weird balancing acts happening. They're just like fun pieces, The Man Behind the Man is the first series I did, I think. So I did like 1 of 10. Someone's selling it for 10 Ethereum. That's tight. Hope it sells. I hope I gave myself a royalty on this one. It's also, I do a lot of like I'll do like editions on here as well. Because I feel like Rarible is good for that.
Right.
Just like more affordable, accessible work for people who are trying to be early collectors of my stuff and not have to like break the bank to do it.
What would you say is, one of your favorite NFTs that you've worked on? The piece that you're most proud of right now, or one of them?
I would say the async piece is definitely one of them. Just because I think it's innovative and unique. In terms of having these different layers this piece, that all kind of fit together. I think it also is inspiring some of the work I'm making now and some of the collaborations I'm working now. So this is called The Exquisite Genesis, but my next piece is going to be a collaboration. I don't want to give too much info away, but I have 2 other really cool crypto artists, and we're each working on one figure that will all fit together. So we're going to do basically this same formula, but with 3 different artists collaborating. So you can have this, constantly evolving piece that features one or all 3 of the artists, depending on which state it's in. So I think the async piece is probably one of the pieces I'm most excited about, just because it's kind of this new experimentation that I've never worked with, a field I've never worked in before with programmable art. And you can still buy one of the layers. The head layer is available, I think, maybe.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't also ask, from a music perspective, what would you say was one of your favorite projects you worked on?
Oh man. So me and Grizz have a song called My Friends and I. Actually, you want to throw that YouTube up? Because I actually animated the music video for this. It's called, My Friends and I. Yeah. Yep. And then we go to the, let's see, keep going down, because those aren't the animated versions. Yeah, the official movie.
This one?
One more down.
Okay.
One more down.
Got it.
Yeah, and this song kind of took off and developed a life of its own and became a series. So we have My Friends and I Part 1, 2, and 3. And it's just like a super cool, funky song. We created our own little world with it. Yeah, there we go. This is the first music video I really animated. Sharks with lasers, of course.
I don't flex. I roll deep, don't sleep, we next. All good Rex, got checks on checks. These parties rated XXX. I'm still friends with all my exes. We just out here living reckless, young and restless. Nothing's precious, not enough time to count on blessings. Whoa. Yeah, all my homies popping now. All them OGs got me now. Fall with your hurt, can't stop me now. Gonna ride with a team every day of my life. And I'm out with a scene with a J. Got a light, gonna pass to the crowd. You the band for the night. Man, pump that shit. It's a jam for the night. My friends and I get down. I hope you're ready for the wave. My friends and I get loose. We might stay up a couple days. My friends and I can make this party come alive. Okay, okay. My friends and I get
It was like 4 years old, but it's still pretty good.
Super dope.
Yeah. So, I think this is a good one because it's like the first time I combined music and art in this kind of animated way. So it's like, the beginning of the creation of PROBCAUSE's little crazy world.
And this is a series, right? Isn't Snoop on one of the other parts?
Snoop is on part 2. Yep.
Right.
Snoop is like, we're like, who'd be the coolest friend to like have and to come to the party? And it's like, duh, SnoopDogg.
Right. Oh man, this is super dope.
Thanks, man.
One question that we get a lot is, do you have any advice for new artists coming into the space on how they can work to stand out? Obviously, you're coming with a music following with you, so your situations are a little bit unique, but maybe you could talk to how to leveraging music and your fans in that regard to the art space.
Yeah. So for me, in anything that I pursue, respecting the early adopters and kind of like the community leaders is important, right? In terms of anything, in terms of hip hop, electronic music, the traditional art world, and especially in the NFT world, because like I really believe in the NFT community. Like it's so unique and it's so important, and there's a lot of like really important players who have put a lot of work into making the space what it is now. So I guess my first advice is don't try to just like jump in and go for a cash grab, because like if you do that, people are gonna see right through you. You're not gonna have longevity, and honestly, it's just lame. It's not the way to operate in the world. So my first advice would be like, look at who kind of like the OGs of this space are, and learn from them, follow them on Twitter, interact with them. From my experience, a lot of the people in the NFT community are very open and welcoming and glad to give you advice no matter who you are. Some of the people that I've connected with in the space had no idea who PROBCAUSE was. Like my music didn't build the relationship. It was about me reaching out and talking to them. So my first advice is just, come into the space humbly and, look to the people who have kind of been doing this for a while, and you can learn a lot from them. And then I guess the second thing that kind of goes along with that is integrate yourself into that community. Don't just be like shilling your artwork and people's replies and collectors' replies. Support other artists, buy other artists if you can afford to. Really like become an active member of the community, and then everything else is reciprocal. Everything happens after that organically, in my experience and opinion. And that applies to a variety of different fields. That applies to really anything you're pursuing in life, is just have respect for the people who were there before you and learn from them, and go about it in a genuine way.
Yeah, like you said, great advice, not only for this, but for everything. Before I move on, we have some audience questions, but I'm getting a little bit of heat because I referenced music versus art, and I definitely didn't want to caveat music is not art. I believe
it's all art.
Art for sure. I was referencing the traditional visual art world versus
for sure
musicians.
I mean, I think I did the same thing too. Yeah, it's all art for sure, but just for the purposes of distinction.
Right. Phew, I was getting some heat in there for that.
Dang, they're coming.
Yeah. So a couple of questions from the audience, if you mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you tour with Grammatic, or was that some one-off stuff?
I did. I think we did like 7 or 8 shows together. I don't know if some would call that a tour. I think they're more like one-offs. But Grammatic is a very good friend of mine. And we've done tons of music together. And we probably played a dozen shows.
Okay, very cool.
But we never did like a tour bus tour together.
Not yet, right?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Grammatic doesn't love touring, so we'll see if it happens.
Are you on Audius?
Yes, I am, and man, I'm really glad whoever brought that up did. Audius is an awesome platform. I have my music on there. I'm getting ready to release some exclusive music with Audius as well. We're just kind of working some stuff out. But I love Audius, and I think that I hope that they replace Spotify as one of the main. Sorry to anyone who like works or loves Spotify. I like them too, but you know they don't pay artists very well. So Audius is changing that, and they're built on a Web3 platform. They're not NFT songs, but they're still on Web3, and the way that they pay out artists is very generous, especially relative to these other streaming platforms.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Anything we can do to support and make sure you guys are getting a bigger piece of the pie is what we should be doing. So
Totally
on there.
But check out, if you guys aren't familiar with Audius, definitely go check them out. Tons of great music on there. It's a great streaming platform, and they're just gonna get better.
Someone asked, how would you take into account gas fees for buyers and things like that if you had a release and each song was separately versus, an NFT being an entire album?
Right. You think they're just referring to like, because gas fees are so out of control right now?
I guess, it really comes back to the layer 2 solution. And, when that comes about, this really wouldn't be an issue. Right. But it's a huge fan and they want all of your songs as opposed to.
They want all my songs as NFTs, they said.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how that will work. I think that one thing that we're going to explore is actually releasing the album with Audius, or, a platform in this space where everyone has access to it. And then the people who get the NFTs, they'll get some extra. Well, they'll own the actual NFT, of course, but maybe there's a locked in component that makes it a little better than just having, the song.
Right.
I know gas prices are out of control right now, so it's tough, especially if you're just trying to like listen to a song. You don't want to pay $100 for gas, and I will not make that. That won't be the case for me for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking out loud, but there's got to be some kind of equivalent or correlation to when visual artists will do an open edition, right? So
yeah.
People that want to have some kind of exclusivity, they have an option to buy a 1 of 1 or 1 of 10 or whatever. But there's also something that's more, affordable for everyone that just wants to show their support. So there's a way to do it. We just got to wrap our heads around it, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, there could be kind of like 2 tiers of the NFT. Like you could just get the song for, whatever, $5-10. But if you want the actual NFT, that's maybe an animated version of it or something like that, it's a little more special.
Right.
I'm just thinking out loud, but there's ways to do it for sure.
Right. Very cool. Well, thank you for answering some of those audience questions. Before I let you go, I know you alluded to a drop tomorrow and kind of a hint of that. Is there anything that you wanted to share with the community and put them onto before we let you go?
Yeah, I not so subtly dropped Grammatics doing a release with Nifty tomorrow. One of the NFTs is that Satoshi song that I'm featured on, so I'll be a part of that drop tomorrow. But other than that, just stay locked in, stay tuned into what I do. I try to put stuff out every week or two. Stuff like that's on the screen right now, kind of like smaller pieces. And then I'm always working on kind of bigger projects that will get released throughout the course of the year. But I'm so accessible. I will return any messages to any fans who want to chop it up or talk or have questions about the space. I'm like literally the most accessible person ever, and I get back to people pretty quickly. So my DMs are open, my messages are open. I'm not so good on Discord, but I'm getting better. So just like reach out to me if you like my pieces. Please buy my work if you're a collector. This is like definitely keeping me afloat while I'm not touring. So I really appreciate all the collectors who have already bought stuff. But just like I'm an book. So hit me up.
Yeah, most def. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, man.
A lot of new fans.
Yo, that's awesome. I love it. I really appreciate you and your insight and you hosting these and your knowledge of hip hop too, man.
Yeah, no doubt. We're probably going to be doing this is kind of a sneak peek, but we're going to be doing kind of a new series here, Blockchain Beats, where we're going to focus more on the musical aspect. And I'm sure you'll have some audio NFT projects in the future. So we'd love to have you back at a future time.
Awesome. Yo, I really appreciate you guys and everything you're doing with the whale community, for real.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much, man. Have a good day.
Much love. You too. Peace, y'all.